The MythBusters are leaping into the unknown in their search for scientific truth.
Because I can hear it very clearly under there, and it sounds like a bad thing.
Could a scuba diver be sucked up by a firefighting helicopter and dropped into the middle of the flames? What really happens when you add mothballs to your gas tank?
It does say, warning, flammable.
And is Hollywood telling us the truth? Will a car really explode if you shoot the gas tank?
You may commence firing.
Am I missing an eyebrow?
Adam Savage.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
And Jamie Heineman.
Quack, damn you.
I wouldn't say Jamie's an evil genius.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
When will the fun ever stop?
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. It's big, it's red, it's dangerous, and it's got Adam really excited.
Ooh, God, this is good feeling. Yeah.
But what's it got to do with scuba divers and forest fires?
Well, the story goes that a scuba diver was found in a tree in the middle of a charred forest about 50 miles inland. And the speculation was that the scuba diver was scooped up by one of those firefighting helicopters or airplanes and dumped in the forest.
That sounds like one of the worst ways to go I can imagine. 1 minute you're swimming in the water, next minute you're deposited into a burning tree.
Folklorist Heather Joseph Witham knows all about this well-traveled myth.
This story has been around at least since 1987. It appeared as an internet story attached to something called the California Examiner, which is a newspaper that doesn't really exist. Now, this story has numerous variations. It appears in Australia, it appears in British Columbia, and it appears in France. It shows up in a CSI episode. You have it in the 1999 film Magnolia, and in Peter Mail's novel, A Year in Provence.
Well, I think the first thing we've got to do is actually research some of these water-gathering planes and helicopters used for firefighting and see if this is even remotely possible.
Since the 1940s, firefighters have used water dropped from aircraft to help control forest fires. Some fixed-wing aircraft skim water from the surface of lakes and oceans. But the Martin Mars, the biggest water bomber in the world, has an intake scoop only 6 inches in diameter, far too small to fit a scuba diver. However, the myth may be possible with a helicopter. One of the most successful helicopter-borne systems is known as the Bambi bucket.
We're out here at Oakland Airport, where actually the airport police have been kind enough to let us view their Bambi bucket, which they dangle from this very helicopter.
I've heard the myth before, but when I heard it, he was laying on the ground and burned to death instead of being up in a tree.
The best way to think about a Bambi bucket is it's kind of like an upside-down parachute with a hole in the center. They drop it from the helicopter, they lower it into water, and as they come up, it fills with water. They get to a location they want to drop it, and they actually pull a cable right here, and it releases the valve and dumps 120 gallons on the fire. So this is the Bambi bucket.
Yes.
It's cute. It's tiny.
All the helicopters are equipped with a mirror, so reasonably anybody should see someone in a Bambi bucket struggling.
Oh my God, it's a scuba diver! Quick, hit him with a rocket-propelled grenade!
There's just no way a scuba diver will fit into this Bambi bucket.
I think our work here is done. I think it's time to look for something bigger.
Bigger is better.
Bigger is always better.
Actually, you know, I was thinking about this, and they have these things called Erickson sky cranes. They're huge helicopters. They have a tank, and they have a hose coming down out of the tank. There's a pump on the end of the hose. Conceivably, there could be enough suction created on the end of that hose that it could actually suck a diver onto it, presumably on his torso, and then pick him up and carry him away.
The Erickson is Jamie's kind of chopper. It weighs in at 10 tons, can lift 2,000 gallons of water, and maybe a scuba diver.
Yeah, the helicopter with the pump, it is the only one with active suction. I mean, I guess it's conceivable that it could work. I'm a little dubious, though.
This is the perfect MythBusters scenario where we have about 3 or 4 days to build something that took some engineers like 10 years to develop. And I understand that what's inside these pumps, these things that they have on the end of helicopters, is actually just a propeller blade. It's not that unlike what's on the end of an outboard. So let's get an outboard and reorient it. We do a little welding. We're there.
We get to start with a trip to the boat store and go shopping?
You bet.
All right.
Now there's one that would suit us.
Whoa!
That's a 225.
That's massive. I feel like I walked into the wrong world.
It's 200 horsepower. I mean, this is massive stuff, so.
While Jamie talks serious horsepower, Adam gets nostalgic with some vintage outboards.
It looks just like a robot from Star Wars.
What's going on here? Oh. I think I found my boat. Let's see if Jamie's done talking. Not likely, but maybe we can get out of here today.
Jamie loves mechanical muscle. He wants an outboard powered by 225 horses.
The fact that we're using a 225 means that we can even run it at half throttle, still get a horsepower range that's well above what the Myth involves.
Right.
Always on the lookout for a bargain, the MythBusters have tracked down a second-hand outboard across town.
225 horsepower is a lot of horsepower. Turning a 13 or 14-inch propeller. Yeah, that's a lot of horsepower.
Yeah, look, he giggles like a schoolgirl. It's so cute.
But the pump requires a lot more than just an outboard motor. And this means a trip to the MythBusters' favorite junkyard.
Just take this home.
We came here last year looking for a tank for the chicken cannon. We're here this time looking for a funnel, which is kind of hard to make actually, and they just have stuff like that here.
Over here, guys. This cone just saved us 2 days of work.
It looks like it might just make it, you know.
As usual, Adam's impatience gets the better of him.
So Jamie, he doesn't know that we've got the perfect one sitting right here. Blathering on. It's perfect. This is the one. This is the one we're going to use. Take it home.
Unfortunately, the funnel is part of a much bigger lot and can't be separated. Bummer.
The whole thing right here. That piece.
Adam's plan is stymied, and he's getting irritated.
And you've got flanges.
Yeah,
we
sure.
could potentially we could be done with this just by cutting that
I
funnel
totally
off
agree.
and welding it onto one of these flanges.
Totally agree.
And we're done with the whole piece.
I'm totally down with that. But I can see Jamie, oh, well, maybe if we cut it down on the lathe and then, cast it and mold it in a different material and then sent it away to be replicated by some military organization, it'd be pretty simple. One of his ridiculous solutions. Can't believe that guy.
Adam's anger evaporates quickly, especially if there's a big tank to play in.
Hey Adam, did you hear the guy tell us what this was for?
What was it for?
It was like fecal matter.
At last, Jamie finds the right funnel.
But it is separable from the other machinery, and I figure like it'd end up about there.
Looks like I have to eat my words. I'm sorry, Jamie.
The entire rig will have to be mounted on a forklift crane. This requires a frame of box section steel that the forklift's forks, or tines, can fit into. As Jamie buys the steel, he assumes that all forklift tines are the same size. That's Jamie's first mistake.
Damn, I thought we had gotten specs on these. That's why we picked this stuff.
I thought you had gotten specs on them.
I did.
Apparently not. The single central idea of this was the tines of the forklift fitting into our rig, and they don't.
But before the MythBusters build their scuba pump, it's time to hit the road. There are more than 600 million cars in the world today, and almost as many myths about them. Sounds like fertile ground for a pair of myth-busting motor mouths.
All right, Jamie, what's on the agenda now? What's the myth we're going to hit?
Well, there are all sorts of myths to do with cars, and we're going to test them, every one of them. You going to donate your car?
No.
Why not?
I'm not putting sugar in my gas tank and shooting it full of holes.
Well, what are we going to do then?
Actually, I got an interesting and intriguing email from a fan the other day, and he just might be willing to donate his car to the cause. So why don't we go check out what he's got?
Let's do it.
All right.
But who would be crazy enough to give their car to Adam and Jamie?
That's a Caddy, all right. My grandma had a car like that.
It's Cadillac Ben.
You saw us on TV and you figured, I'll take it to them. They'll blow it up.
I was hoping, yeah.
Webster's dictionary defines Cadillac as something that is the most luxurious or highest quality of its kind. And since the first Caddy rolled off the line in 1902, many consider them to be the epitome of motoring style and elegance. Until now. Ben's Caddy needs plenty of mechanical help, so our resident gearhead, Scotty Chapman, swings into action.
Okay, sound effects may be needed if it doesn't start. Make me look good. Come on, baby!
Come on, baby!
What's a gas gauge say?
It's a little above empty.
Huh.
It's the gas. It's very James Bond. I think we may be onto something here.
Yeah!
Yes! Come on! Everything's better with gas.
So this is sort of an historic moment, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we bought cars for the show before and, used them for a myth and sometimes two, but here we got an opportunity to see how many myths we can actually do with this one vehicle and if it's still around at the end of the show.
Yeah, we're gonna have our share of fun abusing it, just like Buster.
I can't wait. I think we really need to christen it with a name.
Well, you got any ideas?
Earl.
Earl it is.
Earl the Caddy. All right, Earl.
It's time to put those motoring myths to the test.
What are we going to start with?
Well, we have all this produce that we're gonna shove up the tailpipe and see what happens. You're gonna stand back there with a catcher's mitt.
It's a classic college prank to block a car's tailpipe with a piece of food. But will the car really stall?
That's supposed to eat the props. I think with the big engine in this car, whatever we put up that exhaust pipe is probably gonna come out pretty quickly.
That's why we've got our high-speed camera trained on Earl's tailpipe. Time to fire one.
Lock and load.
Artilleryman Adam selects his ammo.
That's the one. Go ahead and start the car.
Firing.
That was magnificent.
That spud is out of there. But a Mythbuster always wants more. Adam loads the potato deeper into the tailpipe.
Potato stuffed in there like a good 20 inches. I'm ready when you are.
That one is flying, but there's no effect on the car's engine. The banana is longer and thinner. Maybe it'll do the job.
Banana is fully inserted. You're ready to fire.
All right, firing.
That banana slips right out.
Kill it! It was like that.
Maybe an egg is the answer.
Fire when ready.
Firing.
All right, kill it.
The egg's airborne, but it doesn't stall the car. Looks like whatever food stuff you stuff up there comes right back out again.
It's gonna throw it about as fast as you could throw it. It's not that hard.
So it's busted.
Yeah, I'd say totally busted.
Can a firefighting helicopter actually suck up a scuba diver? An air crane helitanker is the chief suspect. The Mythbusters are recreating the helitanker's scuba sucking power by using a 225 horsepower outboard motor and a funny hat. The outboard weighs 500 pounds, so just moving it around is a major headache.
We could try and pick this up by with the forks, like tip it up.
We get 6 people on this and we just manhandle it up on there. Many hands make light work.
That's it's possible.
Jamie doesn't like to do anything hastily, and I like to do everything incredibly hastily. So therein you have the dichotomy of our patterns.
After the manhandling,
Perfect.
a frame for the outboard is welded together.
Go for it.
Then, the original drive shaft is removed from the outboard. For the scuba diver pump, they'll have to build a new and much longer drive shaft. Because it'll be spinning at high RPM, the shaft must be accurately machined on a lathe.
A sealed U-joint is really quite a beautiful thing.
The propeller is cut down and carefully balanced to avoid vibrations.
We're mounting the propeller the wrong way around.
That's so that rather than pushing the water down, it'll be sucked up toward the outboard. To control the water flow, the shaft must be encased in a heavy steel pipe.
What we need to finish the scuba diver rig is a pipe with a 10-inch ID, an inside diameter. We happen to have the leftover chicken gun barrel, which is just the perfect size, and I want to cut it up. It takes up too much damn room. 2, 1.
But Adam loves his chicken cannon.
I don't think that cutting up the chicken cannon is a good idea. We're never going to get around to rebuilding it. No one's ever going to give us the time to do it, and it's gone. It's gone forever.
There's chicken guts in here.
Well, so much for Adam's feelings. The chicken cannon is carved up in the quest for the super scuba pump. Adam gets his chicken cannon revenge by playing around with Jamie's crisp white shirt.
I'm differentiating myself from Jamie. Come on.
Did you mess? Is that your shirt? What are you doing with my clothes?
How come you're not wearing your crisp white shirt? You're supposed to differentiate yourself. Now I got to wear it until you put it back on.
Is that your shirt? What are you doing? You know, mess with your own clothes. Take it off. Put it back where you got it.
I think he's serious.
Now that the shirt thing is sorted out, we can get back to work. The shaft is fitted inside the pipe, and Adam describes in detail what will happen to the pumped water.
Shoot up that way. Like that. Just a godly torrent of water.
That torrent will be vented away from the motor by angling the pipe. Scotty welds the two cut halves of the pipe together. She knows there's something not quite right.
Oh, I know what it is. It's the chicken that I'm burning that's messing with my weld. Getting little bubbles of chicken vapor.
I have several problems to solve before I start to triangulate. Man, it never ends. Just a ton of little things. A host of little things to solve.
In his rush to problem solve, Adam makes a key mistake. He suspends both the outboard and the pipe from the forklift. So when he moves the motor, the pipe shifts too.
Hey, Scotty, I need your help.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, is this what the crash in the was?
Yeah.
Oh.
The problem grows worse when the temporary stand collapses. The build team shifts into high gear.
Yeah. I'm trying to make sure the drive shaft doesn't get tweaked.
Right.
If it's not already.
Adam knows the shaft is vulnerable. If it bends, then 3 days' work will be lost.
Any luck?
It's a tense moment for the entire team.
Grab this one and cut it. Come on. It's whatever it takes.
I know, I'm getting it.
Stick that under there when I lift the thing up. Okay, lower the forklift, please.
Crisis averted. The shaft is okay, and pump construction can continue.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Done?
We're good, yes.
Okay.
Oblivious to the drama, Jamie finds a water tub for the rig's test run.
This thing, if it works well, is going to launch something like a Volkswagen out the end of that tube every few seconds.
The funnel from the junkyard has to be measured and cut down to fit the pipe.
Boy, I tell you, if you turn this thing on, that would be a hell of a cleansing.
I can't gnaw on my arm. Ow!
Finally, the pump is ready for its maiden voyage.
It's like a pageant for my baby.
Mounted on a forklift and weighing close to 1,000 pounds, the MythBusters rig is a recreation of the water pump on a firefighting helicopter. It's made from a second-hand outboard motor and a cut-up chicken cannon. What are the odds this thing will actually work?
I would say we have about a 25% chance of nothing whatsoever happening, about a 50% chance of something bad happening, and then the other 50% chance is that it's going to work.
Jamie, that's 125%.
Well, so sue me.
just in case nothing does happen, Adam is quite happy to pretend. And the crowd is puzzled.
Are you on the throttle?
Can we just get on with it?
Go for it.
It's just a simple matter of turning the ignition key. Maybe not that simple.
What's going on?
Push key in for full choke.
He had one job to do on this whole thing.
They gave us the wrong key. I called them up and the key doesn't match. What are you supposed to do?
While the right key is found, build team members Carrie Byron and Scotty prepare Buster for his underwater date with destiny.
How do they get these on? And we're gonna get him into a scuba suit?
This sure beats Buster's usual treatment.
Maybe we should grease him.
Let's grease Buster.
With some lard.
This dummy has never had it so good.
Not getting away, pal.
But Buster fights back.
Oh! Hey!
The sun is shining, the right key's been found, and the MythBusters Super Pump is ready for a test run. Jamie fires her up.
Give it a little gas.
Give it a little?
Yeah. Ready again?
Yeah, let's do that again.
It works.
Yeah, I think it actually works. I think we'll actually get our 3,000 gallons per minute.
The pump works, but it's still not finished.
What we have left to do is that we have to make a rig to hold a big hose for the output, and that's going to be a tough job, actually. Then we have to mount the screen on the bottom to replicate the real thing. It's a guard to keep things from, like fish, from getting sucked up into it. And finally, we're going to paint it red so that it looks like firefighting equipment.
I can't believe how long this took to build, considering this is totally not going to work.
I wouldn't want to be next to this when it's running in the water anyway, because we built it, and it's, you know, just as like as not to fly apart and, you know, send a propeller blade through my head or something like that.
And our resident folklorist can make plenty from death by propeller.
People like dumb way to die stories, particularly in some form of accident, and this seems like a plausible kind of accident. You could just get scooped up one day and there you go. That's why there's that familiar injunction, always wear clean underwear, because you never know what's going to happen.
Adam and Jamie have been given a car.
That's a caddy, all right. My grandma had a car like that.
And now they're trying to destroy it.
Firing.
Inserting potatoes didn't stall the engine. Time for something more hardcore.
A cracked engine block can cost you hundreds of dollars in repairs.
Engine additives are designed to improve your car's performance, but MythBusters additives are a little different.
Don't let winter freeze-up happen to you.
So now it's time to move on to putting stuff in the gas tank.
Yeah, and we really want to see what's going on. So, you know, I don't think it's going to work to just do it in the car. I think we either need to pull the engine out of the car or get another engine.
It'll help to have a see-through gas tank too. Because of the fire risk, the gas tank must remain separate from the engine. So Adam welds together a gas tank stand. And in case one of the explosive myths turns out to be dangerously on target, blast screens are erected around the engine. Scotty starts her up.
Cool. Nicely done. So the first myth is that drain clog remover poured into the gas tank will make the engine explode. Shall we do it?
Yeah.
The drain clog remover goes in. Time passes, and the engine's still purring.
It definitely has to have sucked it up by now, and I don't notice a darn thing. I mean, the idle speed hasn't changed at all.
And then suddenly, nothing happened.
I'm noticing a distinct lack of an explosion.
Other than the internal combustion.
Okay.
Maybe revving the engine will do the trick.
Come on, Jamie, use that aim.
But the engine survives this myth. It's running just fine.
Kill it. I say kill it.
So, liquid drain cleaner.
Fully busted.
Before the next test can start, the gas tank must be drained and every last trace of drain clog remover removed.
Thank you.
The tank is carefully resealed and filled with fresh gasoline. Time for some myth busting.
Okay, Al.
He never learns, does he?
Let's move on to bleach.
Cool.
All right.
Contact.
Oh, it starts off hers like a kitten.
Must be clean.
Nice work on that.
And in goes the MythBusters brand bleach. Jamie revs it up. Adam hams it up. And everything's fine. Until...
There we go.
We got it cut out?
Yeah.
All right, so the bleach just stopped the car from running, did it? I mean, it just cut out?
Yeah.
I'd say it's plausible.
And the bleach has another trick up its white sleeve. Next morning, the boys discover the hard way that bleach is an oxidizing agent. In other words, it makes steel rust.
Next time you start your engine, you're going to be sucking a whole lot of rust and particles from the tank as a result of all that corrosion down into the engine, and then you're done.
On to the next test. And Jamie doesn't sound too enthusiastic.
I'm getting ready to put sugar in the gas tank.
So wannabe director Adam tries to get some more emotion.
All right, Jamie, here's your motivation. It's the middle of the night. You hate your neighbor because he's always throwing loud parties. So you're gonna go to his car, you're gonna pour sugar in it. Go! Action!
Method actor Jamie passionately pours sugar into the tank.
He'll stop throwing parties now. Let's start the engine.
All right. Ready?
Ready?
Adam uses his new throttle control before embarking on another method acting fantasy.
He's driving along. He makes a left-hand turn. He comes to a stop. It's like a time bomb.
Careful you don't make any sparks on the ground there, big boy.
Okay.
The engine just keeps on running, so the boys leave it overnight, hoping the sugar will really mess things up.
It's time to see if our engine will actually start this morning with its sugar gas tank.
Well, what do you know? There's more sugar in that tank than gas, but it works. Go figure.
I'd say sugar in the gas tank, totally busted.
Gas tank myths. Drain clog remover. Busted. Bleach. Plausible. Sugar. Busted. What's next?
Well, there's a myth going around that putting mothballs in your gasoline will be like putting high-octane fuel in your engine.
Really?
It does say, warning, flammable.
Adam pours his gas and mothball highball into the tank.
Seems steady to me.
Gradually, the MythBusters notice a change in the engine note.
It's starting to sputter.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it likes it.
Just to be certain, Adam revs the engine. The transformation is amazing. The engine sounds great.
Actually, that does sound kind of good, doesn't it?
Sounds much better than before.
Hear for yourself. This is before mothballs. And this is after mothballs.
You know, barring like a bunch of instrumentation, I'd say on the face of it, that we might have very well put a more high-octane fuel in this engine.
So the MythBusters have shown that a few mothballs in the tank seems to increase the octane of your gas. We're not recommending it because the mothballs may have some negative effect on your engine too. But one thing's for certain, you won't have any moths in your motor. When Cadillac Ben gave Adam and Jamie his car, the MythBusters made a solemn promise.
You saw us on TV and you figured, I'll take it to them. They'll blow it up.
I was hoping, yeah.
We will do our best.
And the place to try it is the strictly controlled environment of the Chabot Marksmanship Range, under the watchful eye of some local firefighters.
So Adam, what are we doing out here with all these guns in this car?
Well, the MythBusters Caddy is actually going to help us put a very famous myth to rest, one that is constantly perpetuated by Hollywood, which is if you shoot a car in its gas tank, will it actually explode?
In countless Hollywood movies, a well-placed slug will cause the spectacular detonation of an auto. Will Earl be the next one to explode? The MythBusters know all firearms are dangerous and should only be used responsibly and in a safe environment. So, do not try this at home. To test this myth, Jamie will have to shoot the Cadillac's gas tank.
Commence fire.
There's gas in the tank, and the bullets are definitely hitting it. But there's no explosion. The waiting firefighters look almost disappointed.
Look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all right in a row. Oh, yep, you punctured that gas tank quite neatly. And I'll bet you went right through the other side.
Jamie's shots went clear through the tank.
Yeah, there's one that's right out the bottom there.
Ah, so you're right.
So will shooting a car's gas tank actually set it on fire?
Actually, not like in the movies, it won't explode. You did a really nice cluster there, right through the gas tank, no problem at all.
Went in, came out the other side, nothing.
No explosion.
There you go.
Take the safeties off.
Time to put car shooting myth number 2 to the test.
You may commence firing.
And the reason for this target practice? The Hollywood myth that hiding behind a car door will stop you from getting shot. The myth is thoroughly tested when 50 rounds are fired into the driver's door.
I suspect that we went all the way through the car, Jamie.
What makes you think that, Adam?
Earl's door resembles Swiss cheese, and it'll take some major detailing to fix his interior.
You know, Jimmy, I think we can safely say that unlike the movies, being behind a car door if you're in a gunfight is not a safe place to be. Every bullet that came through here came out here. It's pretty obvious. This is not where you'd want to be. I think the best advice is just don't get in a gunfight.
I'd agree.
Because it has a pump, the air crane helitanker may be able to suck up an unsuspecting scuba diver and drop him into a forest fire, as per the myth. Adam and Jamie have built a pump and are about to test it out on Buster.
We're at one of our regular testing facilities, and Senal High School out in Alameda has allowed us to use their pool before, and we've dunked some things in it and done some tests, and we're about to do another one. We're about to pump 3,000 gallons a minute out of this pool, actually.
Come on forward. Go ahead and lower it down.
And here's where Adam discovers Jamie's boo-boo with the decision about steel framing.
They won't fit in there. 5.5, 5 7/8.
Damn, I thought we had gotten specs on these. That's why we picked this stuff.
I thought you had gotten specs on them. I thought you had made that phone call.
I did.
And ordered the steel appropriately.
I did.
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
The single central idea of this was the tines of the forklift fitting into our rig, and they don't.
We have a small problem due to the fact that the tines are slightly larger than we had anticipated in the rig.
It really pissed me off that, you know, that the central idea of our rig is not gonna work.
If Adam's upset, that's his problem, it's not mine.
As usual, the MythBusters find a way round the problem. The forklift tines are lashed under the frame, and the rig is stable, kind of.
Now we get to walk like an Egyptian.
In order not to damage the concrete pool decks, a plywood track is laid for the forklift. It's a back-breaking job.
Boring.
Next to be unloaded is the tank for testing the pump's capacity.
Drag away.
And it's the same deal with the plywood again. Meanwhile, the star of the show waits patiently. Outboard motor expert Jay is drafted onto the MythBusters team. Finally, it's time for a full-scale test run. The pump is lowered into position. The rig works, and Adam's thrilled. But the sun is setting, and it looks like the scuba diver test will have to wait. Meanwhile, there's more motoring myths to bust.
So the myth is that if you have a bone dry radiator, you can start your car safely by putting cola in your cooling system?
From the first time primitive man went out for a Sunday drive, our biggest automotive fear has been the breakdown.
Well, what do we do now?
Call the MythBusters, of course.
Cola in your radiator? What's your prediction?
And I think it'll be fine. It'll probably foam up a bit, and it probably isn't very good on it because the sugar's going to caramelize from the heat.
Yeah.
But it's not going to stop the engine real quick. It's going to work, it'll work as a coolant.
First, we drain the radiator.
It's bone dry. You got some cola for me? Oh, yeah. I'll make sure this is real cola.
Adam will make any sacrifice to bust a myth.
I always drink MythBusters cola.
Watch out for radiator reflux.
Oh! I'm now standing in a melange of cooling fluid, gasoline, and cola.
And we're only just getting started.
I picture the guy who's doing this and his girlfriend's going, "Honey, are you sure that's okay?" And he's like, "Don't you worry, darling. This cola's gonna make this baby purr like a kitten."
Time for the cola additive test.
All right, ready to go. Let's start it up. We'll let it run for a while.
So far, the engine seems to be enjoying its cola refreshment, but Adam has obviously sampled too
I'm gonna go
much.
to the bathroom.
Those cola bubbles are really building up. Maybe it's time to quit.
The hell was that?
A little back pressure.
So, cola in the radiator, what's your verdict?
Well, wouldn't want to do it for long, but this one's plausible.
Yeah, I'd say it's plausible.
But what do you do if there's a hole in your radiator and you don't have a product to fix it?
We want to find out if you're on the road and your radiator's got a leak and you got no other options. If you crack an egg into the radiator, will it plug that hole? Plug away. Oh! Hey, Jamie, we got a leak there.
Is that too big of a leak?
No, I'd say that's a standard leak.
Adam wears a protective mask. Those eggs are real.
I have never put an egg into a radiator before. In fact, this whole myth of things that seem like really silly ideas. All right.
Starting.
All right.
Gotta give it a little time.
Yeah, we'll give it some time and see what it does. I mean, I can see it's still leaking.
And then something extraordinary happened.
It stopped.
I mean, it looks like it stopped right away.
Could it be that this actually works quite well? Better than the commercial product?
That's far out. I swear, I wouldn't want to do it as a permanent solution, but egg in the radiator?
Most engines eat gas, water, and oil. The MythBusters test engine has a diet of drain clog remover, bleach, mothballs, sugar, cola, and eggs. And it's still running. Our next motor myth states, if a piece of metal as tiny as a penny is dropped into an engine's carburetor, it will fall deep inside the engine and destroy it.
Penny in the carburetor, only because you asked for it.
Here we go. Oh yeah, he's tossing a penny into the carb. All right, I'm gonna rev it a little bit.
The increased rev should move the penny even deeper. Will the engine slow down or blow up?
Nothing happened.
Well,
I'm gonna go in there and look.
yeah, why don't you go in there and look? Take a look. Take a look. Take a look for that penny.
It's just, the penny's just sitting there.
You gonna shove it in further, honey?
Down she goes. Okay, we're good to go.
All right, here we go.
I hear it, I think.
Yeah.
That penny is taking a pounding, but the engine's still running.
It's definitely not ruining the engine, but I do swear that I hear it like knocking around in there, and that can't be great. Given that tossing a penny into the carburetor is supposed to ruin your engine, our engine's still running fine. I call that busted.
Yeah, myth busted.
Well, we did a lot to this engine, but I think we might have saved the worst for last.
Yeah, bleach in the engine oil. It's supposed to ruin the lubrication. It'll, make the thing heat up really quickly and seize up, is the myth.
Putting bleach in the gas tank was meant to stop the engine, but putting bleach in the oil is meant to destroy it.
Feel like that's enough?
That's nasty. That can't be good for that engine. Look at the breather.
Yeah, the breather's shooting out lots of smoke. Come on!
That's got to be some nasty stuff coming out of that tube right now.
Things are starting to heat up. Like a pair of evil geniuses, Adam and Jamie gloat over the engine's demise.
It doesn't sound good. I mean, it's smoking all over the place. This engine's overheating. The steam is just shooting out of the radiator.
It's singing its death song.
As usual, the prospect of imminent destruction gets Adam totally wired.
Only a couple more miles, man! We gotta get home!
And the fumes are getting worse. The noise and smell are incredible. Wouldn't the MythBusters make great neighbors?
This is the last revolutions this engine will ever make. Well, the engine got so hot that it started to set fire to the wooden cart it's sitting on.
It's still probably pumping oil around, but it's probably pretty well screwed. It may well, be seizing itself in place right now from overheat. I think that was really hard on the engine at the very least.
You think?
Looks like they finally killed it. And to prove just how hot an engine can get with bleach in its oil,
you can fry an egg on the exhaust of this thing. Well, Jamie, we've got an engine here with bleach in its engine oil.
And there's a penny in the carburetor.
We got an egg in the radiator.
And we put sugar in the gas last night.
Yeah.
Gotta love the American small block.
It's a fitting end to car capers.
but will there be a fitting end for Buster when he plays the mythical scuba diver scooped up and dumped into a forest fire? Adam will be right there with him, but first he needs a wetsuit.
Have you ever heard of anything that might lead you to believe this myth is possible?
First time I heard it, I didn't believe it, and I heard it subsequently happening in other places like in Canada or in the Midwest, and I never believed it.
Believe it or not, the MythBusters are putting this underwater myth to the test. The Ericsson air crane helitanker can suck up 2,000 gallons of water in 45 seconds. The MythBusters' homemade outboard motor pump must be able to replicate those figures by filling this 2,000-gallon tank in 45 seconds.
Based on what we've seen so far, it's pretty promising that we'll fill the tank in the required time, in 45 seconds or less.
The water must get from the pump to the tank via a very heavy 10-inch diameter hose.
What about irrigation pipe? Didn't we talk about irrigation pipe? Like it's really light, I could lift a length this long?
How are you going to hold it on there?
I would consider that solving the problem of holding it on there vastly simpler than lifting a 500-pound sweaty donkey.
Tensions are going to run high, claws are going to come out, steam is going to come out of ears.
Worldwide wrestling of nerds.
Oh, it's great. Look at that.
Adam, you should probably not stand underneath that right now. I'm not sure why, but... Our first task is to hook up the pump to the big hose and try to fill the tank and see how fast it goes. If we get it going really quickly and it fills up according to the specs on the real device, on the real firefighting device, then we know that we're going to have a valid test here, even if we're in the ballpark. And for all we know, it may actually outperform the real one.
As Adam hangs off the end of the forklift boom, build team member Tori makes a shocking discovery.
Warning, do not lift personnel. Do not use boom or attachment for lifting personnel. Lifting personnel may result in death or serious injury. It's the MythBuster way.
Adam ties the pipe to the tank, but how's he going to get down from there? Time to find out if the MythBusters pump will measure up to the helicopter original.
Ready? Go for it.
They need to fill this 2,000-gallon tank in under 45 seconds. But the effort of pushing the water up the extra 15 feet is too much for the outboard.
Keep it up! What was that? Come on! Come on! What happened?
She died.
So where were we?
That was 18 seconds it got halfway there. That's way ahead of 3,000 gallons per minute. Would totally beat 3,000 gallons a minute. Who's gonna do it in like 30 seconds?
A quick test to check that the outboard is okay.
All right.
Working.
Yeah,
I think that's good. Ooh, God, this is good feeling.
Yeah, that's why you...
The tank and hose are removed, and Buster steps up to the plate. We know our pump is at least as strong as the Ericsson air crane. But can either of them suck a scuba diver out of the water and hold him long enough to get to a forest fire? Let's find out. Adam pushes Buster toward the intake funnel, but there seems to be no suction.
I got him right up under that thing, under its full pressure. He like lazily delayed a little bit and then sunk right back down. There was just not enough suction to hold him. I mean, his tank was in the way, everything was in the way.
That was a lot of water coming out the other end, though.
And I have to tell you, if you were a diver and you heard that sound,
You'd go the other direction.
I think you'd go in the other direction, because I can hear it very clearly under there, and it sounds like a bad thing.
But the MythBusters are determined to see Buster firmly attached to that pump. The funnel and guard are removed from the pipe, and Buster is stripped of his tank.
So we're pulling off the cowling, and we're gonna try him right on the end of the pipe. That's the worst case scenario. They don't run those machines like that, but that's what we're gonna try and see if there's enough suction at all.
Is Buster about to make the ultimate MythBusters sacrifice? It's got him. Buster is held fast. Maybe the myth is no myth. But as soon as he breaks the surface, the pump sucks air and revs dangerously.
Was there a failure of the machine?
Negative. I was stopping it from over-revving.
Without the pressure of the water, the pump's motor would over-rev and disintegrate. But an exploding outboard holds no fear for the MythBusters. They want to try again. Adam really gives Buster a shove. The pump sucks, but only till the battered dummy breaks the surface.
That is so busted!
It pulled him up out of the water a little bit.
A little bit short of a forest fire. Well, that's gotta suck. I'm glad I didn't try it. There's pieces of his wetsuit all over the pool.
Well, that's a hell of a hickey he's got going there.
I have to say the amount of suction under the pool was actually pretty impressive. I'm looking up in the mouth of this just like satanic swirling thing of death, and I just kind of got him near it, and he went like this. I mean, it was just like a magnet. It was incredible. There's no way that suction's going to carry him above the water. It's going to suck onto him under the water, but once it leaves, that pump needs to be primed the whole time with water, and he'll cavitate it, and he'll just drop off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think this ends the debate once and for all. This one's busted.
Okay.